hello todo mundo! Olha, o nosso Reading Masterclass está oficialmente aberto para inscrições durante toda essa semana. E, como vocês bem sabem, a gente adora fazer uma surpresa e está com um descontão maravilhoso lá no nosso site, que é inglesnecru.com. Se você quer melhorar muito na leitura em inglês, quiser ganhar vocabulário e se tornar ainda cada vez mais fluente, essa é a hora. Então, o nosso Reading Masterclass vai te trazer todas essas oportunidades, além de ter mais um pouquinho do nosso dia a dia com vocês, né? Então é isso. Espero que vocês gostem muito do que a gente está preparando. E vão lá, inglesnecru.com, tá bom? Hello, hello! Todo mundo gosta de uma novidade. Eu, principalmente, amo, amo, amo muito novidades. E dessa vez a gente tem uma coisa inédita aqui no Inglês Micro Rádio. O Cambly tá dando a oportunidade de você se inscrever num plano mensal, antes de você se comprometer com qualquer outro tipo de plano mais longo. Então, por um mês, você pode testar o Cambly por uma super, hiper, mega promoção que eles estão fazendo. Tem plano a partir de R$ 99,00 e até o final do mês você vai poder aproveitar com o nosso código. O nosso código é Inglês Necru Mensal. Então, até o dia 31 de março de 2021, você pode aproveitar o plano mensal com desconto e também uma aula grátis de inglês também lá no Cambly, obviamente. Então, gente, muito bom, você pode aproveitar essas duas coisas. Aproveitem e é isso. Now, on with the show.
Just to explain, to give you the notion of how English was when I was at school, when I was in school. Basically, 2 classes a week, 50 minutes. So we had 100 minutes of English in 5 days in the week. And basically, it was the teacher making us listen to sounds. This methodology.
Yeah, you can say methodology. I think it's more common just to say method in English.
And the method basically was I will put this song for you guys to listen to. I will give you this paper with the lyrics. I will blank some random words. At the bottom of the paper, there will be some scrambled words, and you have to take that word out of the bottom and put them on the blank according to what you hear.
Just fill in the blanks.
Yes, exactly. Fill in the blanks. And man, I remember listening to a lot of Shania Twain back then.
A lot of Shania Twain.
And it was...
That don't impress me much.
and a little bit of Alanis too, Alanis Morissette. And
oh yeah, we cannot hate on Alanis because Alanis. Okay, quick word about Alanis Morissette. Extremely interesting person. She's Canadian.
Yes.
She has been not only a pop sensation, but she's also an actress. She appeared on the Showtime series Weeds for a couple of seasons, and now she has a podcast.
Really?
So good job, Alanis. Yeah.
Well, fill in the blanks. So it was a pretty common method for the teachers back then. So yes, you kind of gain some vocabulary from that, but you're not speaking, you're not reading, you're not writing.
Yeah, and I imagine you're doing this in a class with, I don't know, how many other students?
25 to 30 students.
Yeah, so 30 students, 2 50-minute classes a week, essentially 0 time actually speaking English.
Yeah, and you have to consider that a lot of those students are not interested at all in doing anything.
Yep.
And maybe messing up the class vibe a little bit. So
yeah,
there was that. And well, I just thought, man, I got to get somewhere by myself. as I said, I was reading Harry Potter books, watching to the movies. By then I had already, I think I have already read all of the short stories, all of Sherlock Holmes short stories,
In
and
English or in Portuguese?
in Portuguese, yes, and
Gotcha.
and I was like in love with that London, England environment. Okay, for Sherlock Holmes, it was the Victorian London in England, but same thing. I was very impressed by the way that Conan Doyle described the whole scenario thing, and I was like, man, I gotta go to that place. And I think it was when I started to realize that if I wanted to improve my English, I had to walk with my own feet. And at the same
Nice. That's a great expression.
and at the same time, I did not want to. Well, I don't say I did not want to, but I was very inclinated to avoid.
Inclined.
I was
Very
very
inclined.
inclined to not go to an English school because they were always very expensive here, and I've always listened to friends and colleagues saying, "Well, I'm doing English for like 3 years now," and I'm like, "Man, 3 years paying for an English course that was not very cheap, was not cheap." My thoughts back then were, well, I'd like to save that kind of expense for college if I can.
Precisely.
Y-
And I think that's a really good, just a good tip, recommendation in general, is you can ask people about their experiences with learning another language or learning anything. But if people are telling you, like, yeah, I've been in school for like 4 years studying English, and it costs me, I don't know, 10,000 AIs a month, and my English still sucks. That's probably a good sign that that's not the best path to take.
Yeah, and you always had that person that was like, well, I did 4 or 5 years of English. I wasn't in quotation book 10 because there's a thing with English courses here in Brazil that they divide the courses into books. Each book talk about a different subject or a kind of a variation of the way
Right, right.
you learn, and they go, I reached book 10, I'm in book at book 11 right now, and well, for me it didn't mean much. I don't know what book, whatever the number is about, but what that person was really saying was, well, I've studied a lot and I haven't talked much.
Yep.
And I'm like, well, what's the point then?
Yeah, that seems like a bad deal.
Yeah.
It sounds like you had a very typical, not a typical, but a common experience that a lot of Brazilians have a very similar experience. They go through high school and, they have exposure to English, but don't really learn much. But there seems like there is kind of a turning point in your story that a lot of people don't have, where you kind of look around and recognize, huh, this doesn't seem like the best idea. I need to walk with my own feet, as you
Yes.
said.
Yes.
So what happens then?
Well, at this point of the story, I think we are maybe at the end of 2007 when I finished high school.
Hmm.
I should just, since I have the opportunity to be here and talking to you and all the listeners, my English teacher in the last year of high school was the most different that I had in years. I mean, she would have us to write, I mean, text in like essays in English, something that
Hmm.
from
Essays.
essays, things she would have us to write essays in English talking about random things. Maybe she would give us a subject, maybe not. Maybe she would say, talk about some random thing that you want to talk, what you did on your weekend, or let's everyone talk about this specific thing. Something that in, let's say, 4-5 years studying English in school, I'd never done by then.
Yeah, just the process of like, hey, here's the topic, write about it.
Yes. She did not. We wouldn't have to speak or try to speak nothing, but she was making us to write aside from just study grammar and things like that. And I thought it was pretty off the curve compared to what we had until that point.
Just a quick aside here, Ismail. That's something that I recognize a lot with our students is like the need or the wanting of structure. Like, hey, give me an activity and tell me what to do with it. When in reality, there's not like, it's not a lack of resources. Like when I'm talking to students and I just want them to train their pronunciation and their speaking, most of the time I don't have a topic. It's just like, hey, what'd you do this weekend? Tell me about it. And that's usually a great place to start.
Yeah. You don't have to, I don't know, read this text about Mr. Warren and how he runs his company and what you think about it. I'm like, man, I don't know how to run companies.
Exactly.
Muito obrigada por ter escutado mais um episódio aqui do Inglês de Necrorádio. É muito bom ter você juntinho assim de nós. Faz muito, muito carinho no nosso coração, digamos assim. Então você que está interessado em saber mais sobre os nossos produtos e saber mais sobre a gente, o que a gente oferece para vocês em relação a estudo, a challenge, a curso, vá lá no inglesdenecro.com e você pode ver mais sobre as worksheets, por exemplo.
Yeah. If you want to really improve your English, if you want to learn more about the ways you can do that and just connect with us on a deeper level, go to inglesdenecro.com. And as always, keep up the good fight.
And lose well.
See you guys tomorrow.
Bye.